welcome to another episode of The Everyday Leader. I'm your host, Dr. Ananya. I'm here today with Dr. Gregory Kolovich, the co-founder and chief medical officer of OXOS Medical, a company based in Savannah, Georgia. I'm so excited for this conversation. I'd like to welcome Dr. Kolovich. Okay, well, should I call you Dr. Kolovich or?
Just call me Greg, please.
Okay,
Yeah, this is
I had to check. All right, great. Well, thank you so much again. Thanks for coming on the Everyday Leader. I'm so excited to have you here. And I know a lot of people, a lot of young physicians will be so inspired with the story um, that you have and the journey that you've taken on so far. Let's ease into it. So, a hand surgeon, an orthopedic
right.
surgeon. So, what inspired you to go down that path, and how did you get here? Just
I
give us a
think
tour.
there's. Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'm excited. These are always fun to. I wish they had these when I was going through because I would have listened to them and certainly heeded advice. But no, I think everybody. There are some people who go into medicine who are legacies, and maybe they know that from the start. I was not. When I was a kid, I had no desire to go to medicine. I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to work for NASA. I wanted to make rocket ships. So that's what I did. I studied hard. I really like math and physics. I went to Georgia Tech, a really good engineering school in Atlanta, and I majored in electrical engineering. Actually, I majored in aerospace, but then I found out how difficult aerospace engineering actually is when I took Jet Propulsion 101 and realized that that's not going to fly for me. So I switched to electrical engineering, which was also not easy. But yeah, so for 2 years in college was really set on being an engineer. We had this program called co-op, so we would work a semester and then go to school a semester, which was really cool. We got a chance to work in industry and make some money, and I really think that's a great program to do for anybody, especially being 19, 20 years old, getting to travel to a cool city, working for a big company and making some extra coin to pay for tuition. That was a really good experience because you kind of dip your toes in corporate America and learn what you definitely want, what you don't want. But that was big for me because my third year I was working for a company as a co-op. We developed a device that turned out to be, it ended up making the company a good bit of money. And what I learned from that is, we didn't get anything because we couldn't patent it and we couldn't, proof of intellectual property, all that stuff. And we just were little, interns who didn't have the knowledge or the money to protect your IP. And what I learned from that was certainly you have to protect yourself. You have knowledge is power. Certainly understand that people will take advantage of you if they can. Naivety is, you get burned me once, fool on, shame on you, burn me twice, shame on me. So I learned very quickly in life that I wanted to work in an industry where I had absolute autonomy. I didn't really fit the mold of working for a big Fortune 500 company. So I really wanted autonomy. And in that vein, I really was drawn to medicine because medicine is the ultimate, especially in private practice. I work in a field where you eat what you kill. If I want to make more money, I go do more surgery. I see more patients. I have absolute autonomy over my practice. I hire and fire my own PAs, my own MAs, do my own billing. So it really was an opportunity to sort of start your own business. And it was a really, a trusted field that I knew I wouldn't ever be looking for a job. You can work anywhere. You can work in Alaska. You can work in New York City. You could work anywhere. So there's always need for doctors. So it was a reliable field where I could be my own boss. But it really didn't make the decision to go into medicine until I was dating a girl actually who was pre-med, and she got me a job doing organ procurement. And again, another way of making money. So we would go out on these calls. There's a company called LifeLink in Georgia. I was 19, 20 years old. I would get a call to go harvest organs. So we would fly out to Alabama, we'd go out to South Carolina, we would go all over Georgia in the middle of the night. And I got really good at learning how to use a scalpel, how to sew. Basically, it was surgery and training at 19, 20 years old. And it was a ton of anatomy. So I learned a ton of muscle skull anatomy. And at that point, I got pretty good at it. So I had this desire to work for myself. I had this really fondness for anatomy and surgery. So then I put all that together and made the change and started taking organic chemistry and inorganic chemistry and all the pre-meds for medicine. And I switched track, and I just like that, boom, got burned in industry, and then I was working a job that really was drawn to, and I didn't look back. And then from then on, there was no doubt for me. I wanted to be a surgeon. I think any doctor makes a decision. You're either a doer or you're a thinker, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, I think we both do and think, but surgeons like to do, and internists like to think, and I think they're both mutually, they're non-exclusive. You have to do both, but I really didn't like the idea of, I wanted to actively participate in their healthcare by surgery, and any surgeon knows what I'm talking about. I didn't like. I didn't like passively changing medications and going through and contemplating what to do. If something was broken, I wanted to fix it. So I was a doer. And I think the luxury for me is I knew that going in. Some people make that decision late in their career, and some people switch gears and pivot. I knew I wanted to be a surgeon. It was just really what type of surgery. And because of the black and whiteness of orthopedics and the fact that people get better, the fact that you can actually fix things and do things, it was orthopedics all the way. So I mean, that was really, and then it came down to what specialty. And hand surgery was so cool because hand surgery, you've seen me operate in Africa. We operate everywhere. I do peripheral nerve, so I operate in your pelvis, your leg, up in the brachial plexus, of course, in the hand and upper extremity. So being a nerve and microsurgeon, you get to operate everywhere. So you really do have a very diverse field. So yeah, I think the whole follow your passion. I don't know. I mean, it's not really good advice. For me, it's do what you're good at, because everybody's good at something. So for me, I was good at fixing things, and I was good at working with my hands. So I wanted to do something I was good at, and then also do something you genuinely enjoy. But so for that, anybody who's contemplating a career in medicine, it's not for everybody. But I would argue that there are very few industries where you can, even on your worst day. And I promise you, the saddest thing about my job is, like today, I saw 60 people. We typically see, I don't know, sometimes between me and my PAs, we'll see up to 100 people a day. And 98 out of 100 will be fine. They'll be great. They're giving you gifts. You've helped them. And there's always one or two that are sort of pain in the butt. And those are the two people you think about. And if you think about any other industry, 98% success rate would be great. But because we're so egotistical in a good way, I mean that as a good way, because we're always chasing perfection and we're trying to make everybody happy. What you really realize is that you can't make everybody happy. And I'm doing a lot of good. I'm helping a lot of people, and you just have to let the 2% you did the best you could, and it is what it is. So that's been the hardest part for me, is learning that I'm still doing a good job. I'm helping a lot of people, but you can't help everybody.
Yeah, completely agreed. That's so many gems in there. There are a few things that stood out from from this story, and one of the things is you know yourself very early on, and also you've been exposed to things. All these things you're mentioning is just exposure, right? You've seen something, you realize, oh, okay, I actually kind of enjoy this, and then you invest your time into it. So um is that what you would encourage young people to do, to kind of explore different things while they're young in order to get a better understanding of what their inclinations is?
Yeah, I mean, it's like food. Like I never knew I liked sushi until I tried it. I was
Mm.
always afraid of raw fish. And then my wife was like, eat this. So I ate it and I love it. It's now one of my favorite foods. So I think you can't spend your life worried about what you think you like or you don't like. You have to try things, dip your toes in the water. Um, and a lot of times you'll realize that what you always thought you were going to be, for me, it was a NASA engineer, is not right for me. It just wasn't. And I turned out to do something completely different.
Mm.
And in a way, like, there's no perfect job, but if you can come home and the one thing I really do like about medicine is that, even on your worst day, as I said, you're helping people. Um, there are so many different fields you can do and so many ways to give back, and you'll never really appreciate the power that you have to make people better until you go on like a mission trip, like when we went on in Kenya, where you're such a commodity. I mean, you're not a commodity. You're so in demand because you might be the only peripheral nerve surgeon within 500 miles, the only person that can help that person who's just trying to increase their function or work or feed their family, and you are the difference. And I think it's really important to, because you get lost in the shuffle. You don't see that every day, and a lot of times you're frustrated by all the changing parts, insurance companies and patient reviews and all that other stuff. That's all just noise. In the end, if you know yourself and you're confident in what you do, and you can block out that noise, it's a very, very rewarding job. And I will tell you that for young people, hopefully that are watching this, that's never told to you in medical school. I mean, you're gonna feed you all this stuff about making a difference, and patients are all happy, and everyone, all this kumbaya stuff. It's not reality. In reality, we live in a litigious society where people are trying to take advantage of you for secondary gain or money or whatever it is. That's always there. And there's just generally people who just aren't happy for whatever reason. But the truth is, when that happens and you can identify that and filter out that noise and do what you can do, um, it can be a very satisfying career. So you're going to hear a lot of things that are negative about medicine with the changing, but that it's always been that way. Every industry is always changing and fluxing. So, but I really do get a lot of I get a lot of joy out of helping people, and I think most orthopedic surgeons that I know in my group, no one ever leaves my group. They start their career there and they retire. So how many industries do you know where someone stays 30, 40 years in a stressful job like that? It's rare. And I think you'll find most doctors in particular specialties are very happy with their work. Despite all you hear is about physician burnout and that kind of thing. In my small neck of the woods in Savannah and private practice, even on the worst day, most doctors come home and they'd be very happy. And then when you choose a career, I would rotate in all specialties: OBGYN, pediatrics, general surgery, trauma surgery, and try to get the most of it. When I was rotating in my third year, and we had to rotate through OBGYN, and it was particularly gyn-oncology, which is a really stressful. You do these long surgeries. I mean, you're dealing with people who are stage 3, stage 4 cancer, really sick people. They really need your help. Stressful situation. People don't always make it. And I told it was an all women, all they were lovely, all female surgery group, and I was the only male. And I told them going in, and I didn't fit sort of the mold of what they were looking for, right? But I'm an honest person, and like you said, I know who I am. So I walked in the first day. I said, doctors, I'm a third year med student. I plan on going to orthopedics. I'm going to work as hard as I can. I will do everything you ask me to do. I will not brown nose you. I will not kiss your ass. I will do everything that's asked. I do not expect you to give me a good grade based on me promising to go into OBGYN, because I'm not. I'm just telling you who I am. And I think they've never had a med student go in and be that honest. They gave me all the best tasks. They gave me all the best surgeries. I actually delivered a few babies on that rotation because we were kind of mixing and matching with OB.
Wow.
And I think they were just so blown away about my sheer honesty they gave me, I got honors, and I worked hard. And I said, look, I'm going to do everything you asked me to do. I'm not going into this field, but this will be the last time I'll ever do gynonc, and I really want to learn. So give me everything you got. And I think for young people, we always play that game, like let me pretend I'm going to pediatrics. They know you're not going to pediatrics. They know who you are. So just be honest. So I didn't pretend anything. I told people who I was and what I wanted to do. And I think people really honestly believe that they like that because it takes all the pressure off. There's no, people don't like, they don't like fake people, and they can read through that. And I think it's kind of naive for us to think that they can't read through that, because they can. So just be honest. It's a very okay. It's okay to come into a 6-week rotation and say, look, I really want to learn this. Give me everything you got. Treat me as, treat me however you want to treat me, but just like, I'm here to learn and I'm here to work hard, but I'm not going to lie to you and pretend to be something I'm not.
That's great advice. And like you said, honesty is the best policy. Like, it's cliche, but it is true. And sometimes if you yourself can detect inauthenticity, then other people will as well. Like, it works both ways, right? So when
Right.
you're not being honest, other people will pick on it as well. So I love that. Yeah, wow. Those are really good points. So one word that kept popping up was autonomy, right?
Mhm.
Um, and everything you have done is really one of the is centered in that, like, is centered around autonomy. Whether it's a private practice, whether it's the innovative work, um, or owning your own business, all these things, it's centered around autonomy. So how does one discover that about themselves? Was it something you were exposed to, maybe when you're growing up in your family environment, or where did you and how did you come to understand that characteristics of yourself?
I was the middle of 5 children, so I was sort of, I got away with a lot of things because I was the middle. The baby is the baby. The oldest is we always worry about the oldest. And I have 4 children myself, so I'm like, my oldest I worry about the most, and the baby I dote on the most, and the little kids just get away with everything. So I was the middle child, so I was always trying to seek attention, and in the end, I just kind of like realized, hey, I'm gonna try to get away with things. And I would sort of sneak off and sort of build things. I took my dad's lawnmower apart, made a go-kart. I would dig holes in my backyard looking for dinosaurs. I made a transmission, a 5-speed transmission out of Technic Legos. I mean, I was pretty.
What?
I was always building and taking apart things, and
Wow.
we would make a lemonade stand, and I would want to. I didn't like how my neighbors were doing it, so I would go make my own. I mean, it was, for me, it was always like I was always thinking how I could do it better. So I never followed the I never followed the like beaten path, which for me, not because I didn't, not because I was like selfish or maybe like egotistically confident. I felt like I always got pleasure out of doing it my own way, right or wrong. Because if I do it wrong, I'm going to learn from it. If I do it right, I'm going to refine it. So I've always just sort of enjoyed starting things on my own and finishing them too. One of the things that, I mean, I love my father to death, but one of the things that used to bother me about my father was he would start projects on a Saturday, like literally like demo the bathroom and like not finish it for years. And
What?
it drove my, yeah, he would
How
just
does that
one
even work?
night, I mean, I hope to God my family's watching this one day. They'll know exactly what I'm talking about. My sisters are probably going to laugh. He would just come in on a Saturday morning with like a sledgehammer and just demo the bathroom. And he's like, oh, I'm going to redo the bathroom. But he would never get around to it. It would sit there like demolished for years. And I remember thinking, like, even as a kid, how contemptuous that was to my family and my mother. And I remember my wife she always gives me credit because when I start something, I finish it, because I was so angry at my dad for doing stuff like just not finishing stuff. And like I was probably 5 years old. If I could have picked up a sledgehammer, I would have helped him and would have. But I mean, as I got older, we just started finishing his projects. But my older sister Laura, she is incredible. She's an incredible craftsman. I mean, she's a carpenter. She redid her basement. We're gonna go see her in a few days at her lovely
Wow.
home in Ohio. She and I are like that made us insane. So she's run many marathons because that's how she starts something, she finishes it. I start something, I finish it. So I think learning, sometimes you can learn what not to do. And God bless my dad, I love him, but like learning what not to do really puts an indelible, um, this vision of I have to complete this. I can't sit here with a demolished bathroom for 2 years. So I really think sometimes you can learn a lot about good behavior by learning by witnessing negative behavior. So
Yeah,
that was
100.
probably why I became so like crazy about autonomy and finishing things.
Wow. Okay, well, I really don't know how we can recap that. Just, I'll just, I'll just. It's also just the audience to take whatever they want and however they want.
I mean, just start something, finish it. Like just that's that simple. Or don't start it at all. Like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's. Oh, that's so funny. So it means that you've done other innovative projects. They might not be, something that is going to completely change how medicine is practiced or whatever, but you've done little things here and there. So, have there been any projects that actually you take pride in, that you've tried earlier on that have succeeded and that have failed, but the ones that failed that you learned a lot from?
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, well, like the companies that I've started are all still going strong. But when you build a company is a collection of um, failures. In a way, you never really fail until the company goes belly up, and our company is actually profitable now, so it's a really long way. But to say that you get from zero to profitability, commercialization, and profitability without hundreds of failures is, any startup will tell you that that's just not true. I mean, it's not thinking you're going to start. So to give you an example, so I started OXOS, which was formerly MicroC, in 2016 with my best friend Evan, and we were both engineers. He's a computer engineer, I'm an electrical engineer. So one night I was up in Boston and I was replanting a hand. It was a severed hand, and I was trying to plate because you got to plate the carpus to the radius. So I'm trying to hold this severed hand onto the radius, and I'm putting a plate on there, and I'm bringing in this huge C arm, and I'm bumping into the table. And it's 3 a.m. I'm really tired. I'm pissed off that like we have an 800-pound X-ray machine, and I was like, well, this is stupid. I was like, I could take a picture of anything on my phone. Why not just? Wouldn't it be cool if I could just bring an X-ray and take a picture of that and like stabilize the hand while I bring the X-ray? So I really got into the idea of miniaturizing an X-ray. So it took me about 2 years to realize that it was possible. And then I started raising money in 2018. And in that whole time, we were literally doing bench work. We were doing heat transfers. We were blowing up X-ray tubes. I mean, we were literally doing like lab bench work testing to see if it was possible. And then we realized it's a giant engineering hurdle, which is why no one's ever done it. And then we got ourselves like really deep into it. We're like, okay, well, we're not going to stop now. And I remember being on calls with like engineers from like Ireland, middle of the night, 8 hour, 6 hour differences, and like talking to all the people I could about never giving up, trying to make this right. And then we realized how to manage the heat transfer part of it, because there's a lot of heat that gets given off, because you're essentially harnessing a bolt of lightning in your hand and then shooting an X-ray, which has photonic radiation. So how do you make it safe? How do you make it safe enough to hold in your hand? How do you make it safe enough where it's not spilling off a bunch of radiation? And then how do you follow the guidelines of the FDA? We spent 2 years plotting out a plan to do that. And then when we knew it was possible, we started raising money. And that was actually the stressful part, because now you're taking private money and you're putting it into play. And the last thing you ever want to do is, piss away your friend's money, because the first people who give you money in any startup are we call them the 3 Fs: family, friends, and fools, right? And they're not investing in a device, because there is no device. They're investing in an idea, sort of a napkin. So we don't have a clear device. So we had ideas. We showed them that they were investing in us. So those are the people that, when you sell a company and you get your exit check, those are the people you really those are the people who deserve the most credit, because those are the people who believe in you. And I can't wait when we sell our company to hand them that check, because they earned it. I mean, they really did take a huge risk, because at that point it was an idea. Fast forward a few years, when we got some startup money, we were able to build a device, build a prototype, then started building the company. Now we have like 78 employees. We have a big office building in Atlanta. We've got a manufacturing team. We're all over the world. We're in like every professional league you can name. And it's great. So business is good, right? Not really. I mean, there's never like, it's like climbing a mountain that you never get to the top. I mean, you might hit a milestone and you can look around and take some pictures, but you still got a ways to go. And the advice I would give anybody that does a startup is realize that the climb never stops. You can't. I once believed that you could build a device, get it. I actually believed one time, I don't know why, this is pretty stupid of me to believe it, but like, you go create a device and then some big company's gonna look at it and be like, wow, that's great, I want to buy it, and then just hand you a check. Mm-hmm. That does not happen, by the way. Anyone who thinks that has never happened, I mean, never. Wow. I remember, it just doesn't happen that way. Like, companies don't buy a project, they buy products. And by products, they buy companies who have actually like legitimate revenue, sustainable revenue. So then you realize, okay, well, all right, I made this device, it works, it's safe. We got to get it cleared to the FDA. Okay, that's another whole expensive process. So then you get cleared to the FDA, and then you realize you're just beginning. Now you got to sell the thing. People aren't just lining up at the door and like ready to hand you checks. That's not how it works. Like, the sales cycle is really complex, right? So because no one wants to be the first to buy a product, they want to be like the seventh to buy a product. So then you got to get over like, that initial hump of integrating into the market. And that, for a med device company, that's really hard to do. It requires more money, more time. There's a lot of finagling, but that's the next milestone. So then you get people buying it, and then you got to take all that customer discovery and make it better, get through another FDA. I mean, it's just always something to climb. And then ultimately, like, if your goal is to do an IPO or an acquisition, you've got to get to sustainable revenue. So just selling enough devices is enough. You've got to be able to get in the black, and you got to be able to show you a profitable revenue, and that you're hockey sticking and scaling appropriately. So there's always these milestones to do. And I would tell you that if you think it's this checkbox thing where you can just go punch a few holes and get it, it's not. It's a lifestyle. You'll never stop climbing. There's never some like, it's never like a GPS where you plot out a course and you just follow it and you get there and then it's like, boom, done, retired. It's not how it works. You're always having to hit another milestone. And yeah, you'll have some really cool nights when you get FDA clearance, you get your first sale. Your device is featured on something, super exciting. You get published, you get a new trial, all that stuff is exciting, but it's just segueing to the next and bigger and better things. But I was really sort of thought that we would build this product and then eventually someone would just want it more. That's not really what happens. You have to keep making it better. You have to make it so good that people can't live without it. Like, a company has to buy it because they don't want to function without it. So that's what we do. We spend every waking moment trying to be the best, provide the best service to our customers, keep integrating, keep innovating every little device that it's better. And the one thing that we really do is customer innovation, and we do customer discovery. So when someone uses my device, I ask them what they like about it, what they don't like about it, and we really do. We harness the constructive criticism, because if you tell me it's the greatest thing in the world, that doesn't help me. If you tell me my baby's ugly, well, then I'm going to fix the baby. I'll make it less ugly. I'm going to try to. It's okay. You're not going to hurt my feelings. And then the one bit of advice too is like, I mean, you cannot be, if you're not built for it, don't go into it, because people are going to say, it's okay if you tell me my baby's ugly. It's okay. I mean, I shouldn't be offended by that. But the hardest part is people are going to lie to you and tell you things that you want to hear. And I would tell you that's actually more harmful than telling you it's ugly. So I would rather be, it goes back to what we talked about earlier. It goes back to being honest. When people give you real criticism, I think they're doing you a favor and they're being a good, genuine person. So I enjoy, I don't always appreciate when people are just for the sake of being friendly. And I think in medicine, this applies to medicine. You're not being a good doctor if you tell people what they want to hear. You're not, because you are considered the expert in that field. And the one thing that I've learned over 10 years in practice is the easiest thing that I do is operate. That's easy. I know how to operate. I've done thousands and thousands of surgeries. That's the easy part of medicine. It's when not to operate is the hardest part, because if you operate on the wrong patient for the wrong indication, maybe they're doing it for whatever reason. Maybe they're doing it because they're somaticizing. Maybe they're trying to malinger. Maybe they never needed that surgery in the first place, just didn't know how to describe their symptoms. You didn't do that person a service, and maybe you didn't listen. But the hardest part about my job is knowing when not to operate. And I think I'm still learning. I'm still trying to get better. And I think ultimately, like, if there's a theme for this conversation, it's all about just being honest and paying attention to the signals you're getting. Patients aren't going to sit there and say, I'm numb in these three fingers and it's worse at night. And, when I put pressure here, it kind of goes numb. They're not going to tell you all of the classic clinical vignettes of carpal tunnel. They're going to say, my hand is, I can't make a fist in the morning and I got to put hot water on it. But, it's not numb and it's pain at my forearm. And they're going to tell you different things because everybody's sort of different. And if you ask the right questions, you can get to the right answer. So I have learned to be more patient. I have learned to operate less, listen more, and try to really hone my skills in learning when to operate and when not to, and specifically what I can and can't fix.
Yeah, that was great. Oh my gosh. I don't exactly remember how it goes, but there's this saying that a surgeon in their first decade of practice, they learn what to operate, and then the second one they learn what not to operate, and then
Right.
the third one there's something that goes like that, but I forgot the last part. But yeah, knowing when not to operate and when not to operate is equally important as knowing who and when to operate. So that is an important lesson.
It's crazy because like you'll if you go into orthopedic surgery, you're gonna the first couple years you're just trying to get your feet wet. You're trying to learn. You're trying to do a case without guidance from the start to the finish and get as good results as you can.
Yeah.
And then from like year two, and this is just for private practice, it's pretty similar to academics, but I can only speak for private practice. So the first 2 years, you're just trying to you're taking all this call from your group. They're picking on you. They're seeing if you got what it takes. And, it's difficult on you mentally and physically. You're taking the most call. You're getting the worst cases. And I remember one of my mentors told me, he goes, in this thick Southern accent, he goes, Greg, when you're young, you do big surgeries on small people. And then when you're older, you do small surgeries on big people. And I look at it back now. I mean, that's kind of like I hate
Which is exactly what you're doing right now, actually.
I hate saying it that way, but okay, well, because because when I was starting off as a hand surgeon, they would send me the absolute disasters, the blown up, just spaghetti wrists, blown up hands, amputations, anything, the uninsured. It didn't matter. I just took it all. I didn't care. I just wanted to operate. And then those were challenging for a variety of reasons because they were physically challenging cases. And then you get deeper in your practice and you get more known, and you start getting these high level and then you get people who are, they want like a trigger finger, but they're super there's a whole different level of complexities because they're sometimes high maintenance patients. Sometimes they have super high expectations, and those can be challenging for a variety of other reasons that have nothing to do with the surgery. So what I'm getting at is that surgery in itself, just the sheer fact that you are permanently tattooing people by making an incision on them, you'll never be able to walk that back. You'll never be able to, you are physically changing their life by surgery, right? So you've got to be comfortable with yourself. You've got to be comfortable with the patient. And the worst feeling in the world is learning that I could have handled that differently. I should have done something differently. By either fault of my own or someone else, but like, I mean, that could have played out differently. Maybe I was too aggressive on that. Maybe I wasn't aggressive. Maybe I didn't read through sometimes people are somaticizing. Sometimes it's not real organic pain. And we all know you can't fix non-organic pain with organic surgery. So, I mean, so those are things that like you don't get in a textbook. And those are very frustrating things because I wish we spent more time in med school and residency talking about the psychology of pain and how to sift through real when I think about pain, like there's people have pain all the time and it's real. Like somatic pain, people somaticize, it's real pain. They feel pain. I have no doubt they feel pain, but it's just not correctable by releasing the carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
So me, there are a certain subset of patients who are they're manifesting physical pain. Their internal anxiety is manifested through physical pain. And they're not going to tell you that they're depressed, that they're going through difficult times with their family or whoever, or they lost their job, but they actually feel pain and they actually feel symptoms that sound like carpal tunnel syndrome or sound like tendonitis or sound like rotator cuff tendonitis, whatever it is. And you erroneously take that as an indication for surgery, and you get a bad result because now you've traumatized them with surgery, something that was non-organic, and you kind of made them worse by adding a new trauma to their life and it's sort of pouring gasoline on their internal anxiety. So you kind of made them worse. And that is frustrating because there's no textbook on that. That's just something you got to learn. And I was one of my really good mentors, David Ring, up at Mass General at Harvard. I mean, he was always talking about the psychology of pain, and he wrote several books on this. And he was telling me about this stuff when I was sort of too young and too naive to listen. Now that I look back on it, I'm like, he was telling me all along. I mean, now what I'm learning, like you said, the first 10 years, you're just trying to stay afloat. You're trying to feed your family. You're trying to, obtain partnership. You're trying to publish articles and do talks and sort of become important in this world. And then in the next 10 years of your life, you take it all back. You're like, man, I'm really kind of honing in on my, because all the physical exam, everybody knows the Tennell's, the Durkin's exam, you have EMGs and all that. And then you realize that the way to sort of get better results without throwing gasoline on a fire in certain situations is to ask the right questions, look at the right signs, and really learn when not to operate. And when you go back and look at it, all the signs were there. They were all there. You just didn't listen. So that pathology saw you, but you didn't see it. So I go back and look at stuff like that, and I really analyze it, which is why I'm psychotic about this stuff. Because, like I said, I'll see 100 patients, 98 will literally like want to write me Christmas cards and give me candy and stuff. And there's the other 2 that didn't go right, and I'm like, how do I don't think there's any other industry where like people would be as crazed as we are, but that's who we are as doctors. We go back and think about those 2 patients, and we toss and turn at night and we think about it and we're like, what did I do wrong? How can I make it better? And sometimes there's an answer, sometimes there isn't, but we're always trying to search for perfection, which is what I really love about this job. It's also what I hate about this job. So it's a dual-edged sword. Because I know you. You want to help people. I had dinner with you. I've talked to you. I know you, and I think you suffer from the same demons as I do. Is you want to really help people. I think you wouldn't go into medicine if you weren't like that. And one of the
not, unfortunately.
One of the biggest one of the biggest frustrations for me is I do know surgeons who can walk, and I wouldn't say this is a negative thing, but like they can walk away from it. They literally walk away from it. They go home. They don't think about it. They have a bad result. It doesn't bother them. And I kind of wish part of that was me, but then I wouldn't. That doesn't fit who I am. So God bless them, but like I'm not able to walk away from less than ideal outcomes. I'm always trying to strive to be better, and
Yeah.
I think that's probably a personality fault, but at the same time, I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, you're definitely not alone because I was interviewing one of my teachers. He is hip surgeon, pediatric hip surgeon, and he was telling me about this study that he was presenting at a, I think it was like a society meeting or something. And he said it's a second victim syndrome. It's exactly what you described. When the patient's outcome didn't go as you wanted to go, and then you question everything. You're like, what have I done? And
Right.
sometimes it goes so bad that you even question your capabilities and skills. It does have a name. But it's very interesting because from what you tell me, obviously you're a very creative person, very innovative, and then medicine is a field that's more or less very repetitive. It's like we just do protocols that have been done sometimes for hundreds of years.
Right.
So I don't know, how do you do it? Do you not struggle? Does that creative side just pop in the middle of surgery and just say, what if I just do this completely differently?
Well, I think hand surgery particularly